Welcome to Storytimer at Large. Unidentified. On the Indiana Cold Case website, um, this person is known as Unidentified Remains Found in Wayne County in 1982. So let's talk a little bit more about this case. Luckily, I did find a newspaper article that was contemporary with the time that she was found, so that helps a little bit and gives a little bit more detail. In 1982, on December 26, hunters in rural Wayne County, Indiana, stumbled upon a set of skeletal remains in the fork of a large fallen tree. The skeleton was found in a wooded area off Jacksonburg Road. The spot was about 1.5 miles north of Interstate 70. Jacksonburg Road doesn't have an exit off the interstate, so this killer could not have left the interstate right there at Jacksonburg to dump this body. This killer, it seems to me, had local knowledge. In reading that article about the finding of the victim, uh, it seems like the area where she was found was really unusually remote, difficult to get to, difficult to find. So it doesn't seem like something that someone who was not from that area would just stumble upon. That's just my opinion, but I don't think that they just stumbled upon this spot. Uh, if you go to the link that I'm going to provide for the blog, you'll be able to see all the photos. From Google Earth, I was able to find the spot that they were talking about. There's an overgrown gravel lane that leads into the woods off Jacksonburg Road near where the body was found. So the killer could have taken that little gravel lane back along the side of the cornfield and then back into the woods. And it leads pretty far into the woods. Would have been very handy for someone who was a hunter or a trapper. Hunters and trappers both use that area. Um, I don't know if perhaps there was an old home there at one point. I'm not sure why someone would bother putting all that gravel into that wooded area. Yeah, it just seems it's unusual. And there are photos from above where you can actually see the road, that gravel lane leading back into the woods. The Google Earth photo was taken in the winter. It looks like all the trees have no leaves on them, so you can see down through the trees and actually see the gravel road. Medical examiners would determine that the body belonged to a female in their teens or 20s. According to an article about the discovery in 1982, the victim was wearing long pants and a long-sleeved blouse. Her shoes were a sandal style. In the late 70s and early 1980s, many women wore sandals with hosiery for a dressed-up look. It would have been appropriate for work, going out, or to church. A woman's coat, presumed to belong to the victim, was found nearby. A gold ring set with an opal was found with the victim. The ring isn't described in any detail other than it's a gold ring set with an opal. The spot where she was found is not far from the place where Pamela Ann Smith was found in the spring of 1976. Pamela Ann Smith's skeletal remains were found in a field near Greens Fork, Indiana. To me, that's too close for comfort. That's very close. She had disappeared on August 24th, 1975. Her case is also still unsolved. Another note about her clothing. The clothing she was wearing could have been appropriate for spring in 1982, so she may have been abducted and murdered in the spring of 1982, or the fall. They're saying she was skeletal by the time she was found, December 26, 1982. So I don't know if investigators have looked further into exactly how long it would have taken given the weather conditions and things, for her body to become skeletonized. But they had estimated she had been there for several months. A hunter who found her, the hunter who found her, said he hunted there in that area. It's a 10-acre area, but he hunted in that area every few weeks, and the last time he had been there was maybe 3 to 4 weeks earlier, but didn't come across her remains at that point. It's not that she wasn't there; he just didn't come across her. She probably likely was there at that time. This victim could be from Ohio. Wayne County is not far from the Ohio border. Highway 40 runs from Ohio into Indiana and intersects with Jacksonburg Road. She could also be from Indiana. She could be from just about anywhere, actually. This killer could have picked her up, abducted her from a public area near the interstate, offering a ride. But the spot where she was left seems to indicate someone with local knowledge. So if she was a stranger to this area, it seems to me that the killer was not a stranger to this area. If she was left there in the fall after the foliage was gone, it's possible that this killer could have stumbled upon that lane leading back into the woods, but it seems like a really outside chance to me. You have to remember, like, the foliage would be gone off the trees, but there's still a lot of weeds and bushes and shrubs along the area at the entrance to this lane. So it just seems like it would be difficult for someone who didn't know anything about this area to find that, to just, oh, look here. Hunters, of course, used this area in 1982 and still do today. Trappers who would trap for animals also use this area, but they tended to set their traps closer to the water of Martindale Creek, which runs through there. It seems like, of course, trappers are going to set a trap where an animal might come to drink, and also they would be looking for muskrats, probably, who swim along in that river. Who knows? But the traps are typically set closer to the water. So it's possible that this killer knew of this place due to one of those pastimes. Maybe he had a friend who hunted or trapped, or maybe he was a hunter or trapper. This facial reconstruction here, it may be difficult to recognize this person as a teen or woman in her 20s, but keep in mind that she has very symmetrical features, it seems. She has a pretty square jaw. She has not overly thin lips, but not overly full. She has pronounced cheekbones, high cheekbones. Her nose is not overly long. Her eyes are reconstructed to be somewhat almond-shaped, but again, she is Caucasian, according to the medical examiner who looked at her remains in 1982, and the person who later did this reconstruction, which was probably done through an FBI lab. So maybe try to visually erase the hair if you can. Her hair color and eye color are guessed at. I don't think they knew that she had dark hair. She might have. There's just not a lot of information on the Indiana State Police Cold Case website, and there's not a lot of information in the article. Nothing indicates whether hair was found with her skeletal remains. The Indiana State Police Cold Case Division is investigating this case. Her case number is 41-10291. I think the best chance for identifying her is someone who remembered someone who went missing in 1982, who had a gold ring with an opal stone. Young woman or teenager. Yeah, I think that might be just kind of keeping in mind that she was a teenager or young woman, and she had a gold ring with an opal stone. Um, if you have information about this case or questions about this case, please call the Indiana State Police at 765-778-2121 or 1-800-527-4752. And again, I'll link to my blog where there are maps, pictures, photographs from the original newspaper article. You can see the woods and the tree where she was found. Yeah, so let's hope for a good outcome in this case. Let's hope that she can be identified and returned to her family and people that are desperately missing her. Rest in peace.